The next category of practices that we're going to talk about are wildlife survey methods. Why are wildlife surveys important? They are a vital prerequisite for many wildlife management techniques. They may provide knowledge of which species to focus on for your management. They're important for responsible harvest of selected game species. They provide a picture of the health and diversity of the environment. They're also the currency by which the success of your management programs are judged. So a little bit about wildlife survey basics. A total count or census is extremely difficult, if not impossible, to conduct for most wildlife species. Things like white-tailed deer or grassland birds or things like that will be moving around quite a bit, and we won't be able to tell every total individual. So we have to use surveys to get an idea of the population, but we'll never know the exact number of animals. Furthermore, no survey method available for wildlife is 100% accurate 100% of the time. So it is best to conduct multiple surveys and compare the results. So which survey methods do I use? Well, first, what wildlife species are you interested in? Secondly, how much time do you have? Third, how much area are you surveying? And finally, what kind of habitat do you have? There are several different survey types that are available, and by working with your biologist, depending on whatever wildlife species you're interested in, we could help you develop a survey that would work for you. But right now, we'll go over some of the primary survey method types that people use. For large mammals, the primary survey methods include aerial surveys with helicopters, stand count surveys, spotlight surveys, or game camera surveys. Stand counts, kind of how they sound, you basically sit in a deer blind with a pre-placed wildlife feeder, and you count the wildlife species you're interested in that come out to that feeder. Generally requires at least 5 stand counts for a decent estimate, and generally one stand can survey approximately 100 to 200 acres. So ideally, it would be best if you have multiple stands to put people in every single stand and count all the deer you're seeing, or pigs, or javelina, or whatever species you're interested in to get a good survey estimate. Spotlight surveys require a pickup truck, a driver, and two observers with spotlights. You develop a predetermined route through the different habitat types, drive at about 5 to 15 miles an hour, and identify and count all the different nocturnal wildlife that you see. Also, it's probably a good idea to reach out to your local game warden and let them know when you're going to be doing a spotlight survey so that they don't come up on you and try to wonder what you might be doing while shining a spotlight at night. That way they can be available for other things that might happen that night besides just you. Another one are camera surveys. Surveys use motion sensing cameras on feeders, trails, water sources, etc. And for white-tailed deer, they can be used to identify individual bucks by antler characteristics and determine an estimate of the number of bucks you have on the property. Then you can compare that to the total number of doe and fawn pictures to get a full population estimate. For birds, several different survey methods can work. One of those is point counts. In a point count, an observer sits quietly in a location for up to 10 minutes, identifies and counts all birds seen and heard within a specific radius. It can be 20 yards, or it can be even more than that, depending on the species you're interested in. It's best to conduct 1 to 3 counts per month or season, and you should survey all the different habitat types on your property. Feeder counts are very similar to the stand counts in that you sit at a predetermined location with a feeder within sight, and you count and identify the different species that are using that feeder. At least 5 counts should be performed per feeder per season. Nest box searches, as the name implies, is when you put up these supplemental shelter nest boxes, evaluating those annually to see which ones are used and what species are using them. Generally don't recommend counting the eggs or the young by disturbing them, but maybe just seeing which ones are used and which ones aren't, and identifying the species would probably be the best thing to do. You can also do vegetation surveys. One thing you can do is look at the different, identify all the different plants that are on the property, and maintain a list of and look at the different habitat types. You can also use browse utilization. Look at how the impact of species like white-tailed deer have on the habitat that they're using. It's best to identify at least 5 areas on the property with good brush diversity to conduct this browse survey. Visit with your local Parks and Wildlife biologist to learn how to conduct the browse surveys. Other survey methods may include bat departure counts, harvest data collection, butterfly diversity index, or even bird diversity indexes. No matter what wildlife species you're interested in, your local parks and wildlife biologist can help you determine the best survey method to get an idea of determining how well to develop the best survey to count the species that you're interested in. Thank you.